What happens when a young chef's dream to open a restaurant takes a surprising twist after a family feud? Can she turn criticism into culinary success while navigating the stormy waters of family loyalty? Hi there. My name is Emily, and I'm a 28-year-old chef living in a lively little town. I've always had a passion for cooking and sharing delicious meals with others. After facing some tough moments in my life, I decided to open my own restaurant called Spice of Life. It's not just a place to eat, it's where I pour my heart into every dish, creating flavors that tell my story. Join me as I share my journey filled with challenges, triumphs, and of course, plenty of tasty recipes. I stood in the kitchen, stirring the pot of my spicy chicken curry. The aroma filled the room, making my mouth water. Today was the big family dinner, and I wanted to impress my in-laws. "Emily, what's cooking?" my husband Jake asked as he walked in. His smile made my heart warm. "Just my special curry," I said, a bit too excitedly. "I hope they like it." Jake chuckled. "You and your special recipes. Just don't set the house on fire." I laughed and rolled my eyes. "Very funny, Jake." As guests started to arrive, I laid the dish on the dining table alongside the usual bland potatoes and broccoli. When my in-laws came in, I felt a wave of nerves wash over me. "Hello, Mrs. Jenkins," I greeted Jake's mom, Margaret. Her tight smile didn't reach her eyes as she walked toward the food. "Emily, dear, what did you make?" she asked, her tone already worrying me. "Spicy chicken curry," I said proudly. "Spicy," she echoed, raising an eyebrow. "Like too spicy? I hope not." I felt my face heat up as I smiled weakly. "No, I think it's just right." When we sat down to eat, silence filled the air. I watched as everyone served themselves, eyes darting between the curry and the usual dishes. Margaret took a tiny spoonful of my curry, her face scrunching up, and she coughed. "Oh, this is, quite strong." "It's delicious, Mom," Jake said, trying to be supportive. Margaret shot him a warning look. But not really how we do things around here, is it?" She pushed the curry away and reached for the potatoes. I felt a sting in my chest. Maybe I just wanted to try something new. Suddenly, my brother-in-law Tim chimed in. "Yeah, Emily, this is way too spicy. Are you trying to burn our mouths off?" I looked down at my plate. "I just thought my recipe could add some flavor," I said softly, but they didn't seem to hear me. "It's not about flavor, Emily," Margaret said, shaking her head. "It's about tradition." I wanted to scream, to defend myself, but all I could do was nod. The hurt swelled inside me, but I held it in. Instead, I took a deep breath and pushed my chair back. "I need a moment," I whispered, rushing to the kitchen. I stood there, staring out the window. Why did they have to be so critical? I felt so small. Jake came in, concern etched on his face. "Emily, are you okay? What's wrong?" "I'm fine," I snapped, but then I sighed. "No, I'm not." He stepped closer. "I'm sorry. They can be tough sometimes." "I thought they'd like my cooking," I said, my voice shaky. "I wanted to impress them." Jake hugged me tightly. "You cook with love. That's what matters." I looked up at him. "But they don't see that. They don't see me." He sighed. "I see you, Emily. You're talented. Don't let their words bring you down." I nodded slowly, feeling a flicker of determination. "Okay, I'll show them. I'll improve." Just then, a voice called from the dining room. "Emily, are you coming back?" I turned to Jake, a fire igniting in my heart. "I will show them. Just wait." I wiped my eyes and walked back. "They'll see my skills, I swear," I whispered to myself, ready to fight for my place at the table. After that difficult dinner, I stood in my kitchen, feeling determined. I wanted to show my in-laws that I could cook. I took a deep breath and looked around my tiny kitchen. It was time to experiment. Okay, Emily, what should we try? I asked myself. My eyes landed on the bunch of fresh herbs sitting on the counter. How about a herb-infused chicken? As I gathered my ingredients, I felt a buzz of excitement. Cooking was my escape. I chopped, stirred, and tasted. Later, Jake walked in and inhaled deeply. Wow, what's that smell? Herb-infused chicken. Want to help? He grinned. Sure. What do you want me to do? Can you chop the vegetables? Just make sure they're not too big. I don't want anyone to choke, I teased. Jake laughed. I promise I won't create a choking hazard. In the next hour, my kitchen was filled with laughter and delicious scents. When we finally finished, we plated the meal and sat down to eat. Here goes nothing, I said, my heart racing as I took my first bite. It's amazing, Emily, Jake said, his eyes shining. You're really getting the hang of this. I felt proud. You think so? Definitely, he replied. But are you going to show this to my family? They might have a lot to say again. I paused, my excitement fading just a little. I want to, but what if they don't like it? They can be tough, Jake said cautiously. Maybe we should stick to the safe dishes for now? No, I exclaimed. I want to keep growing. If they can't appreciate my food, that's their loss. A smile spread across his face. You really mean that, don't you? Absolutely. I want to learn. I want to create. Days turned into weeks. I spent countless nights experimenting. I made pasta with homemade sauce, spicy tacos, and even sweet desserts. Each time I felt happier, more connected to my cooking. One evening, as I was testing a new recipe, Jake peeked into the kitchen again. What's on the menu today? Stuffed bell peppers. Wanna try? He nodded eagerly. Yes, please. You're becoming a little cooking machine. I laughed as I handed him a spoonful to taste. Tell me the truth if you hate it. He took a cautious bite and his eyes widened. Emily, this is fantastic. You're a genius. Genius? I giggled. Maybe just a hard worker. I savored that moment, feeling like I was finally finding my place. Cooking was making me stronger. I started keeping a journal filled with recipes and notes. One night, as I was jotting down ideas, I noticed a picture on my phone from my last family dinner. I stared at Margaret's tight smile and Tim's teasing remarks. I whispered to myself, I will change their minds. Soon, I was ready to host another dinner with Jake's family. This time, I would show them I progress. As I told Jake about my plans, his eyes grew wide. Are you sure you want to do this? They can be, well, you know. I nodded, determination in my voice. Yes, I want them to taste my food. I believe in my cooking now. Jake smiled, then sighed. Okay, just be prepared for anything. I can handle it, I said confidently. With each recipe, I was growing. My confidence and joy spread like the spices I was learning to use. I was no longer the shy girl whose dishes went untouched. I was ready to show my in-laws who I really was. My heart raced with excitement, and this time I wasn't afraid. After months of practice and planning, I finally stood in front of my very own restaurant, Spice of Life. It was a small place, just 2 blocks from my in-laws' bakery, but it felt huge in my heart. I had rented the kitchen a week ago, and today was opening day. My hands trembled as I unlocked the door. Here we go, I whispered to myself. As I walked inside, the bright lights felt almost blinding. The kitchen was sparkling clean. I could smell the faint scent of fresh paint. This is it, Emily, I said aloud, trying to boost my confidence. You can do this. I set up the counters with my favorite spices and colorful ingredients. I prepped everything for my first day. The tables were set with bright, cheerful dishes. I even made a special sign that read, "Welcome to Spice of Life." But as the clock ticked, the minutes stretched. My heart began to race. What if no one came? What if I failed? Hey, are you ready? Jake said, bursting through the door with a smile. He held a box of cupcakes. I brought some treats to celebrate. Thank you, but right now I'm just nervous, I admitted, biting my lip. Don't be, he replied, placing the cupcakes on the counter. You've worked so hard for this, Emily. Just wait. People will come. I tried to believe him, but the silence was deafening. What if no one likes my food? Just remember to be yourself. You cook with love, he said, brushing a hand on my shoulder. You're going to be amazing. I nodded, forcing a smile. The sunlight flooded through the windows, but it began to feel less warm and more intimidating. Hours passed, and still no customers arrived. I cleaned, prepped more food, and paced the space. What had I done? I felt a creeping fear. Was this a mistake? Maybe we should put up a sign outside or something, Jake suggested, peering out the window. Good idea, I said, feeling a flicker of excitement. I rushed to grab a chalkboard and wrote, "Come taste the flavors of the world." Finally, just as I was about to sink into despair, I heard footsteps outside. I peeked through the glass, seeing a few people walking by. My heart raced. Could this be it? Suddenly, the door swung open. A woman walked in, looking around curiously. "Hello?" she called out. I said, hope filling my voice. "Welcome to Spice of Life." She smiled. "What's on the menu?" I rattled off my offerings, feeling a rush of excitement. "I have curry, tacos, and some special desserts." She nodded, glancing at the menu. "That sounds great. I'll have the curry." "Excellent choice," I beamed. As I prepared her dish, I felt a surge of nerves. Would she like it? I plated the food carefully, a touch of pride pulsing through me. When I handed her the curry, she took a bite and closed her eyes. This is amazing," she exclaimed. My heart soared. "Really?" I asked, surprise mixed with joy. "Absolutely. I'm coming back for sure," she said, leaving a few coins on the counter before rushing out. Just then, more people entered. One by one, they walked in, their curious faces lighting up when they smelled the spices. "Emily, look," Jake said, grinning widely. "This is it. They love it." I felt overwhelmed with happiness, but a small part of me still worried. The initial rush was fantastic, but what would happen tomorrow? As the day wound down, I cleaned the kitchen, still on a high from the excitement. But as I took a breath, fear crept back. Would this last? "Emily," Jake said, nudging me lightly, "you did it. You opened your restaurant and it was a success today. Just breathe." "I know, but what if tomorrow is empty again?" I said, frustration bubbling inside me. "We'll worry about tomorrow when it gets here. For now, celebrate your first day." I looked around the bright kitchen, still buzzing with energy. "You're right. I'll figure it out. I have to trust myself." As I cleaned up, I felt a wave of determination wash over me. I wouldn't let fear stop me. Spice of Life was my dream, and I would fight for it. With each passing moment, I was learning to embrace my cooking journey step by step, spice by spice. It had been a few weeks since I opened Spice of Life, and things were really starting to change. Every day, my little restaurant grew busier. Customers came in and out, chatting and laughing, savoring my food. It felt incredible. One afternoon, I looked around the bustling dining area. A young couple sat at one table, a group of friends at another, and a family enjoying a meal in the corner. I could hardly believe how many people were now regulars. Just then, Jake walked in, a big smile on his face. "Hey, superstar. How's it going?" "It's going amazing. I can't believe how many customers we've had today," I said, my heart swelling with pride. "Of course. They love your cooking," he replied playfully, leaning over the counter. "You've worked so hard for this." "Thanks, Jake. It means a lot to hear you say that." He placed his hands on my shoulders, looking straight into my eyes. "You're talented, Emily. You've created something special here. You should be proud." "I am," I exclaimed, feeling more confident than ever. As the weeks went by, I kept receiving positive feedback. "Best curry I've had" sounds echoed in my ears, making me smile every time. My heart felt fuller with each compliment. But then one evening, as I was closing up, I overheard a couple chatting outside. "Did you hear about the Jenkins Bakery?" one of them said. "Their sales are down. People are going to that new place, Spice of Life." My stomach dropped. I felt the sudden weight of their words. Was my food taking customers from my in-laws? "Emily," Jake's voice broke me from my thoughts. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said quickly, but my heart raced. I heard something." "What did you hear?" he asked, concern filling his voice. "I overheard some people talking about how your parents' bakery is losing customers to us," I admitted, worry creeping in. "Do you think it's true?" he asked, frowning. "I don't know. Maybe." I gazed at the floor, biting my lip. "I love my restaurant, but I don't want to hurt them." Jake placed a hand on my back. "You're not trying to take their customers. You're just following your dream." "I know," I replied, feeling torn, "but it feels wrong. What if they think I'm trying to compete with them?" Just then the door jingled and Samuel, my brother-in-law, walked in. "Evening, Emily," he called, a big grin on his face. "I heard there's a new hotspot in town." Yeah," I said, my voice trembling. "It's called Spice of Life. I can see why people are flocking here. Your food is phenomenal," he said, excitement dancing in his eyes. "Thank you," I said, but mixed feelings bubbled inside me. "I haven't been in a while. I should help keep up the family business," Samuel said with a chuckle, but I noticed a hint of serious concern in his expression. He continued, "You know, we've been losing customers. I wonder if it's because of you, Emily." My heart sank. "I didn't mean for this to happen," I replied, my voice low. "I just wanted to cook." "We get it," he said, trying to lighten the mood. "Spice of Life is great. Just don't forget about family." "Of course not," I responded quickly, wanting to assure him. "I care about all of you." Later, as I cleaned up, mixed emotions swirled inside me. I loved my restaurant, but I didn't want to hurt my family. I felt proud, yet guilty at the same time. When Jake helped me close, I turned to him with sadness in my voice. "What if I'm damaging my relationship with them?" "Emily, they should be proud of what you're doing. You're finding your own path," he reassured me. "You might even inspire them to change things up at their bakery." I took a deep breath, weighing his words. "You think so?" "I know so," he exclaimed. "You're showing everyone that cooking can be exciting and flavorful. That's something to celebrate." His words ignited a flicker of hope. Maybe I could balance both worlds, my love for cooking and my family ties. It wasn't about competing, it was about sharing my passion. I smiled, feeling more determined. "Okay, I'll find a way to make it work." As we locked up for the night, I knew I had challenges ahead, but I was ready to face them. Spice of Life was not just a restaurant, it was part of my journey, and I wouldn't let fear hold me back. Things were really taking off at Spice of Life. Food bloggers started to visit, posting mouth-watering pictures of my dishes on social media. My restaurant was getting lots of attention, and it felt amazing. One morning, I stood behind the counter looking at my packed dining area. "Can you believe this, Jake?" I said, beaming with pride. "Look at all these people." "It's incredible," he replied, pouring fresh coffee for a customer. "You're really making a name for yourself." Suddenly, my phone buzzed. A new review popped up from a popular food blogger. As I read it, my eyes widened. "This is amazing. They called my curry the best in town." Jake leaned over to read it. "See? You're a star, Emily." My confidence swelled as I watched patrons leaving with smiles on their faces. With each passing day, more people filled my restaurant, eager to try my food. I was living the dream. But as my success grew, I heard whispers. "Did you hear about the Jenkins Bakery?" someone said as they left. "They've really slipped since that Spice of Life opened." A knot formed in my stomach. What did they mean? I was worried about the ripples my success was causing, but I pushed it down. I wanted to focus on my journey. That evening, as I was cleaning up, the door swung open and the cold breeze cut through the warmth of the restaurant. I looked up and felt my heart drop. Margaret and George, my in-laws, stood there, their expressions serious. "Emily," Margaret said, stepping inside, her voice sharp, "we need to talk." "What's wrong?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. As they sat down, I felt a lump in my throat. "Your restaurant is getting a lot of attention and we're shocked," George said, crossing his arms. "Why didn't you tell us things were going this well?" "I didn't know it would get so big," I said, nervousness bubbling in my chest. "I just focused on cooking." Margaret's expression hardened. "You're taking customers from our bakery. Do you realize that?" "Margaret, I didn't mean to," I replied, feeling tears prick my eyes. "I'm just trying to follow my passion." George leaned forward. "It feels like you're competing with us, Emily. It hurts to see you gaining this popularity at our expense." I felt anger mixed with sadness. "I'm not trying to outdo you. I wanted to share my love of cooking." "But it seems to be working," Margaret snapped. "You could have at least talked to us about it. Family doesn't pull each other down." I took a deep breath, my heart pounding. "I didn't want to hurt you. I wanted you to be proud of me." "I am proud," George said softly, though his eyes didn't show it. "But we also feel left out." Suddenly, I felt overwhelmed. "I didn't mean to create a divide," I said, my voice trembling. "I wanted us all to succeed." Margaret's eyes softened for a moment. "Do you really think you can keep this up, Emily? What happens when the excitement fades?" "I believe in my food," I said firmly, finding strength in my words. "I love cooking and I enjoy sharing it. I want everyone to experience that." George sighed and looked at the ground. "We just didn't expect this from you. We thought you'd stick to the family traditions." "That doesn't mean I can't explore," I replied, my heart racing. "I want to create something new while honoring our family. It doesn't have to be one or the other." Margaret stared at me, surprise flickering in her eyes. Maybe we focused too much on competing instead of supporting each other. Jake walked in, sensing the tension. "What's going on?" I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "They're worried about the bakery. They think I'm trying to take from them." "Emily's not taking anything from anyone," Jake said strongly, placing his hand on my shoulder. "Spice of Life is about creativity, not competition. You can inspire each other." The room fell silent. I could see doubt in Margaret's eyes, but I hoped she could feel the love and ambition radiating from me. Finally, she spoke softly. "Maybe we can find a way to work together." "Really?" I asked, surprised. "We could collaborate," George suggested, lifting his gaze. "What if you made a special dish for our bakery? We could share recipes." My heart raced. "You mean you want to partner up?" "Let's try it," Margaret said, her voice softer now. "We can both bring in customers while supporting family." Tears stung my eyes, but this time they were tears of hope. I'd love that. As they left, I felt both anxious and excited. The conversation had opened a door. I was ready to show my in-laws that we could all succeed together. Spice of Life didn't have to be a solo journey. It could be a bridge to our family dreams. The next day, I stood in my kitchen feeling a mixture of excitement and fear. Yesterday's conversation with Margaret and George had changed everything. They wanted to collaborate, and it felt like a new beginning. Jake walked in, carrying a tray of fresh pastries. "Morning, superstar. How's the best cook in town?" I laughed, but I felt a little nervous. I'm doing well. I just had the most interesting conversation with my in-laws. Oh, he said, raising an eyebrow. What did they say? They want to work together, I replied, my heart racing. They admitted that my success has been hard for them. Jake beamed. That's great. You showed them you can handle your own restaurant. Isha, I said slowly, but I also told them about how their criticism motivated me. It pushed me to improve. Jake looked at me, impressed. I think that's incredibly brave, Emily. Thanks. I didn't mean to hurt them, but their words lit a fire in me. As we talked, my phone buzzed again. I glanced down to see an email notification from a well-known food magazine. My heart skipped a beat as I opened it. They want to feature me in an article, I exclaimed, my voice shaking with a mix of nerves and excitement. Wow, that's huge, Jake exclaimed, his eyes wide. What are you going to do? I don't know. Part of me is thrilled. It's my dream. But what if I mess it up? Jake walked over and put his arms around me. Emily, they want to share your story because you're doing something amazing. You belong in that article. But what if they don't like my food? What if I freeze during the interview? We've all been there, Jake said, squeezing me tighter. Just be yourself. Show them your passion. You're a fantastic cook. I took a deep breath, feeling a wave of comfort from his words, but the fear still lingered. What if I can't handle the attention? Just think of where you started. You've worked so hard. You deserve this chance. I smiled weakly, feeling a flicker of courage. But what if it changes everything? What if customers expect too much? Emily, Jake said firmly, pulling back to look at me, you can't worry about what's next. Just take this one step at a time. This is your moment. I nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety cascading in my chest. Okay, I'll do it. I'll agree to the feature. Yay! Jake cheered, making me laugh. You're going to be amazing. Later that evening, as I prepped for the day, my mind spun with thoughts of the magazine article. Would the journalist truly see me? I wanted them to capture my spirit, my love for food. Just then, Margaret walked in, a warm smile on her face. Hey, Emily, I've been meaning to ask, how are you feeling about the food magazine? I'm nervous, I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. I'm afraid I'll mess up somehow. Margaret's expression softened. I understand. It's a big deal, but remember, both our businesses can shine. I felt a rush of gratitude for her support. Thanks, Margaret. I appreciate your belief in me. Then she added, you have something special, Emily. Use their criticism to fuel your dream, just like you did before. It's what got you here. Her words made me feel stronger, and I nodded. You're right. I can channel this energy into my cooking. My journey is worth telling. As I prepared for the next day, I thought about what I wanted to share. The magazine would write about more than just the food. It was my story, too. I needed to make sure my passion shone through. With each step, the fear began to fade. I couldn't let doubt defeat me. I was ready to embrace this new opportunity, my heart filled with anticipation. As I finished cleaning up, I smiled, feeling certain about my choice. The road ahead might be uncertain, but I was determined to show the world my journey, one deliciously spicy dish at a time. I was ready to step forward into the unknown. After all, this was just the beginning. It was an unforgettable morning when the food magazine hit the stands. I opened my front door, heart racing, and there it was. My jaw dropped as I saw the cover gleaming in the sunlight. Emily, look at this, Jake shouted, holding the magazine up. It's me, I exclaimed, staring wide-eyed at the headline. She served them right. I can't believe you're on the cover, Jake said, grinning from ear to ear. I felt a wave of pride wash over me, mixed with disbelief. This is insane. They wrote about my journey and my food, I said, clutching the magazine to my chest. As I flipped through the pages, I read the glowing review. My heart swelled with every word. They call my curry a masterpiece and my tacos a game changer, I said excitedly. This is truly happening. Over the next few weeks, Spice of Life flourished beyond my wildest dreams. Every day held new faces as lines formed outside my restaurant. I felt vindicated and proud. All the hard work had paid off. But as thrilling as this success was, I couldn't shake my worries about Margaret and George. The tension still lingered in our family, and I wanted to bridge that gap. One evening, as I closed up the restaurant, I turned to Jake with resolve. I'm going to invite my in-laws over for dinner. His eyes widened. Really? After everything that's happened? Yes, I think it's time. We need to talk. I want peace, I replied, hope and fear swirling inside me. Sounds like a good idea. Just remember, they may still be a bit upset, he cautioned, a sense of protectiveness in his tone. True, but I believe we can start fresh. They deserve to see that I want to share my success. The next day, I called Margaret. Hi, Margaret. Can you and George come to Spice of Life for dinner this Friday? I want to cook for you. There was a brief pause on the other end before she replied. Okay, we can do that. But what's this about? Just dinner. I think it's time we talk, I said, trying to sound casual but feeling like my heart was pounding in my throat. All right, we'll be there, she replied, her voice guarded. As Friday approached, I prepared like it was opening day again. I made their favorite dishes, homemade garlic bread, a rich lasagna, and of course, a spicy dish of my curry. I wanted to remind them of my roots while showcasing my growth. When they walked in, the tension was palpable. Margaret and George looked around, their expressions a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Welcome to Spice of Life, I said brightly. I'm glad you could make it. Thank you for having us, Emily, George said, his voice laced with formality. I fought the urge to be defensive. I hope you're hungry. As we sat down, I served the food, feeling a twinge of nervousness. Please, let me know what you think. Margaret took a bite of the garlic bread first. Her eyes widened, and I held my breath. This is really good, she admitted. I smiled, a flicker of hope igniting in my chest. I'm glad you like it. Next came the lasagna, and George nodded approvingly. This is delicious. You've really improved, Emily. Thanks, George. That means a lot, I said, feeling warmth spread inside me. Finally, I served my signature curry. I watched as they tentatively took their first bites. Margaret looked surprised, her face softening. This has a lot of flavor. It's your recipe with my twist, I said, feeling a mixture of fear and pride as I served my food. As dinner continued, we talked openly about our experiences, and the atmosphere shifted. I've seen people rave about your restaurant, Margaret said, leaning back in her chair. I didn't realize how passionate you were. I just wanted to share my love for cooking, I admitted. The criticism was hard, but it pushed me to grow. I never wanted to hurt you. I can see that now, George said softly. I'm sorry if we came down too hard on you, Emily. I just want us to support each other, I replied, emotional. Family should unite, not divide. By the end of the meal, the ice was thawed. I felt a lighter weight lift off my shoulders as we shared laughter and stories. As they left, Margaret hugged me tightly. Thank you for the dinner, Emily. It was wonderful. Let's do this again, I said, my heart swelling. I want us to stay connected. As they walked away, I felt like a new chapter had begun. Maybe, just maybe, we could rebuild our family ties through love and food. I was ready to embrace this journey, one delicious meal at a time. Thanks for joining me on my culinary journey. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What would you do if you faced criticism while pursuing your dreams? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more delicious tales from the kitchen.